Hi guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. Today we are joined by Mimi and Claire. They are a mother-daughter duo. They just completed the Hyrox Manchester race together, which is why we wanted to get them on the podcast. And I wanted to introduce you guys because I looked at Mimi's post following your Hyrox race, and she described Claire as her biggest supporter, saying she used to take her all over the country to compete in hockey and swimming and rugby. And now all around the world, you've been flying around and following her and supporting her to compete in Hyrox. So it's awesome to see that you've done one together. And we've wanted to get a mother-daughter duo one for a while, haven't we, Em? So thank you so much for giving up your time to come and chat to us on the podcast.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi. Oh no, it's ace to have you on. And we have met Mimi before. We went to Jade Skillen's training camp, and that's how we ended up knowing each other. I did some training out there, and then we've been following you ever since. So maybe, Mimi, we can kick off with how your Hyrox journey started, and then you ended up roping your mum in, or maybe your mum roped you in. Maybe it started with Claire.
That's how I tell the story.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, Mimi, go for it.
Yeah, so I think, mum always used to say, like, if you put me in a field with a ball, I'd be content for hours. And I think that was always just sort of the case. Always been a very sporty family. Did sort of loads of sports growing up, hockey, rugby, touch, all to various levels and things. And then it was actually in my first year at uni, I got roped into this student fight night event. And it was sort of, they got a bunch of students with no boxing experience. You do like 6 weeks intense training. And then they'd pair you up for like a black tie event at the end, and all your friends had come and things like that. And I will come round to the point.
I can just see your mum shaking her head at the moment. I'm like, oh man, a boxing event, getting punched in the face.
I know. And it was this, the whole rugby team was coming to watch, the hockey team was coming, my flatmates were coming. I was like, oh my God, like I've got to win this event, So, but it was sort of my first experience in like an individual type sport, because I've always done team sports forever. And I did that and absolutely loved it and ended up winning, which is great. But then as soon as it was over, I was like, well, like, what's the next thing now? And that's when sort of Hyrox came up on like my Instagram. And I thought, yeah, like that looks so cool. Like I'm going to do that. Signed up to Birmingham in, I think it was 2022, maybe. But unfortunately ended up injuring my ankle playing rugby and deferred it to Glasgow, because that was back in the day where they wouldn't sell out. You could sort of roll over your race if you needed to. And so we went up together, Mum, didn't we, to Glasgow. We've got family up there as well. And just sort of used that as like a goal to recover from like my broken ankle sort of thing, which is how I got into Hyrox. I thought, yeah, that was great. Like, loved that. Then Jade's camp started coming up again on my Instagram. I thought, well, I need to get involved in that. So dropped her a message like, this looks so cool. Like, how do I get involved? She's like, oh, I've got spaces, like, come. So I did. And I think that was actually the first time I'd ever sort of gone abroad on my own. I was like 18. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Met you guys. Yeah.
And it was a really good camp and a nice way to bring people together. And then so Claire, when you went up to Glasgow and you saw Hyrox, did you think, what is she getting herself into? Or did you think, oh yeah, this is a bit of me as well, like I want to give it a go?
I think I cried. It was kind of one of those things where you watch your daughter, the person you really love, like going through something that looked so incredibly hard. So it was really exciting. It was so cool to see. I'd never, witnessed anything like Hyrox before. It was really exciting to watch. But looked quite painful, and it definitely was. And I definitely didn't come away from it thinking, yeah, I'm going to do one of them next month. But the more I've been, the more I've sort of thought, well, maybe I could do one. You get that little bit of false sense of security, I guess, and you think, oh yeah, maybe I could do that. And then Mimi just booked a doubles, didn't ask me. She
didn't
ask
said,
you. We're doing it.
No way.
What a lovely daughter.
And what your background, Claire? Were you sporty as well? Did you run? Like, what's your background?
Yeah, so I very much sporty. So I was born in South Africa, so it was kind of outdoors, swimming all the time. Every house had a pool, and if you didn't, your neighbor did. And then we moved from there to Switzerland, so kind of skiing all through the winter and swimming in the lakes in the summer. I think when I was a kid and growing up, girls and sport, it wasn't really done, so bucked the norms a little bit there. But yeah, very, very outdoorsy family. My dad used to play rugby. He played for Leicester Tigers when he was young. So, he was a sporty person. And yeah, running, my mum bought me a pair of running shoes when I was about 13. And something you can do no matter where you are. It's all you need is your shoes and some shorts and you're off kind of thing. So I guess running's been my sport throughout my life. I played touch for a while, represented the Northwest. But yeah, I think running's probably, not that I'm a good runner, but I'm a consistent runner. So
yeah, you've kept that going kind of throughout, and that's always been your staple to keep yourself fit and healthy.
Yeah.
That's it. Good, like you say, it's easy, isn't it? It's good. You just need your trainers and your kit, and off you go. It's not like bikes and I don't know, like a lot of other things that makes it difficult to do.
And I think it's sort of, I really like that you put your music on and you can go and you've just got half an hour of peace and quiet and time to yourself, and and then you come back and you get going again. But
especially when you have kids.
I bet it wasn't long
really
before
do know Mimi well.
I bet it wasn't long before she was joining you on some runs, was it? I bet. Did you used to run together, or did you do much have you trained together much, or is this like the first thing that you've done as like a mother-daughter duo?
I remember when I was like younger, really into sort of like my hockey and rugby and things, and mum would try and encourage me to get out running with her. And I think I remember I'd get to like the bottom of the road and be like, right, I'm going home. I'm not a fan of this. But then it was lockdown, really, wasn't it, Mum? That like obviously couldn't really do anything. And lockdown was sort of off the back of I'd had an ACL reconstruction. So sort of had the knee surgery and worked like endlessly trying to get back as quickly as possible. And I think it was like the same week that the surgeon was like, return to rugby, return to hockey, you're great, good to go. They also announced lockdown and that like all sport was done for that very same week.
You've worked so hard and then suddenly it's like
and it was so crushing, and mum was just like, right, you've got no choice now, you come in running with me.
It kind of like, I mean, not good when you've been looking forward to getting back to that team aspect in the community, and you've worked so hard to like rehab it. But then maybe it was a blessing in disguise that you managed to build up kind of solid foundations again before. I mean, rugby is a sport that gets maybe you injured more than others, like, so maybe it gave you that time to build the running and the like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Build your aerobic base and the strength back in the knee without having like somebody tackle you to the ground and it blow up again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think we've always said it probably was a bit of a blessing in disguise. And like if I'd returned then, it probably would have been too early. And definitely lockdown, that was when I really got into running, got into fitness, and I think probably gave me the base to then get into Hyrox, definitely.
And then so you obviously did some running during, what did you get further than the lamppost? Like what were your runs like?
Well, yeah, we did actually. I think as a sort of incentive, after I'd had the surgery, mum signed us up for like the Manchester 10K.
Okay.
So that was sort of on the back burner. I think you just knew that I needed a bit of motivation, didn't you, Mum? So we still like, that was, even though it was cancelled because of COVID, that was sort of still our goal, that on that date we were going to run a 10K. And so we just sort of like built up to it, and that's what we did, and that was really good, definitely.
And it is cool to have like an aim, isn't it, and something to like work towards. And
Yeah,
Claire,
definitely.
so Mimi, you obviously got Mimi a bit more into the running. So how about the strength side of Hyrox? Did you do much in the gym and stuff like that, or was that like Mimi trying to, once you decided to sign it, or she signed you up for a Hyrox?
Don't think
she then
you got a choice, did you?
Or did you decide, well, I'll do the running, but Mimi, you're doing the exercises? Like, how did it work?
Well, I guess in my head, I always knew that I would be able to do the running. Didn't know what pace or anything like that because I run outdoors. I don't run indoors. So I've kind of got an idea of distance and speed even without looking at a watch outdoors. But I think Mimi was punishing me because a lot of my research is on aging and aging well. And anyone who'll listen to me, I'm like, you need to keep up your strength. You need to do all of this strength training. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can always pick it up. And I don't practice what I preach. So I think Mimi decided enough was enough, and she booked us. I think we only had like 6 weeks notice before the event. So, but fair play. She sent me a bunch of stuff that I could do, like in the garage, and I'm quite shy about going to new places, but she sent me that there were 2 places within like half an hour of where we live that do Hyrox. So I went to the one and I said, I've never used a ski erg and I've never used a rower. Can you show me how?
Oh, brilliant.
And then I went to the other one and I'm like, I've never pushed or pulled a sled. Can you show me how? So I thought, well, at least I can do 4 of the 8 things.
Yeah, totally.
And then the weekend before, I went to Birmingham and we went to a gym, didn't we, Mims? And, Mimi's like, right, can you lift the kettlebells for the for the farmer's carry? And can you do any lunges with the weights on your back? And we just tried them. And she's like, if you can do 3 lunges, you can say you've done it, kind of thing. And so that was the plan. We practiced handovers and just like, well, let's give it a go and let's see what happens. So
good on you for putting yourself out there though, and go into the gyms and trying that, because it is daunting, like new bits of kit that you don't really know how it works, and you don't want to do it wrong, but it takes like physically going to practice it to get the feel of it and know kind of what you're in for. So I think Mimi threw you in at the deep end there. And
I'd just like to say, to defend myself a little
all these years of supporting her.
I know, and then she drags you along, sends you a couple of gyms. Go on, Mum.
I would argue that we had vaguely discussed it before, and how great would it be if we did one together? So the idea had been floated, and then I saw they did the sort of like second release for the Manchester, and I just went on. I was like, oh God, they've got doubles tickets. Phoned up, right, I've got these tickets in my basket, are you in? And I got a firm yes, and then I booked it.
Okay, fair, we'll give you that.
We'll let you off. I think it's good though. You obviously you had the idea, and maybe the fact that, Claire, you did go to Glasgow and maybe some other ones, you knew what it looked like you knew the kind of arena or stadium or the format. And did you see, when you went to watch Mimi, did you see any of the doubles doing it, or?
Not really, because generally, and I know it's changed a little bit now, but when Mimi was doing them, it was generally like mixed doubles before you, and often the men open after you. And so that it wasn't really, we weren't really able to watch the women's doubles, but what we did do on the day, because I wasn't too sure on the handover on the ski erg and the wall balls, so we'd read a few things and we thought we knew, but we went on the day and watched handovers on those and on both of those 2 things. But I think you're right. I think although I hadn't done one before, there was a familiarity about it, and how it starts, and I think for me, what really came to fore, both both at the gyms that I'd never been to before, but also at the event, is just how friendly everybody and supportive, how incredibly supportive, everybody was. So at the gyms, CW1 and crew, they just like welcomed me with open arms, and no one giggled or laughed. I mean, one of the lads wondered if I needed a chair at any point to sit down and recover, but that was quite sweet. There was no malicious intent. But yeah, no, I just think I think it's like that with a lot of sport, that so Mimi got me into touch rugby as well, and we used to play touch rugby together and go to competitions and things. And I think if you can maintain that pleasure and that joy, then it doesn't matter if you come in first or middle of the pack or last, so long as you finish and you've enjoyed it. I think that's what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, 100%. And it's really, I think it's so like great that you picked up the community aspect and the friendliness of like Hyrox as a whole, because I think that's something that everybody says every time they come on, whether they're an elite athlete or whether they're an everyday athlete like we are. Like, it's nice that everyone feels included. And I think I'd probably say, like, encourage people to go and watch a Hyrox, like you've just said. If you're thinking about doing it but you're not quite there, or you're not sure what to do, maybe like you've done, go and watch some Hyrox or watch some friends, because everyone must know somebody that does a Hyrox now. I swear everyone's doing it, especially in the UK. And like, go along and maybe just witness the event and see it, rather than watching it on social media and all the hype. You probably get a better feel for it once you're there, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, doing it with Mimi, who's done them before, she knows what she's doing. She's fit and healthy, but she's also super motivational. So I think, doing it with someone who's maybe done it before as well, rather than both of you being complete novices, because then, if you're starting to feel a bit tired, you've got that person to say, come on, we've just got another lap or half a lap, and we'll be in a station and I can do the first bit and you can recover a bit. And I think that really takes the pressure off.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, if you wanted to try it, pairing up with someone that has done one before, and then they can just help and take away, those bits, or they're the ones responsible for counting the laps as well, and telling you when to go, because it is a lot for like you to think about when it's all new, and you're like, okay, so what order? It rolls off our tongue now because we've done so many and we've talked about it so much, and it's like, oh yeah, we know it's this order, that like this station, this weight, like, you do this and this, and it's easy. But when it's your first one, it's a lot to take on board. How did you find racing the doubles? Did you enjoy it, Mimi? Was it it's totally different to the solo that you were used to, I presume?
Yeah, it was my favorite one by far. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I think just like you say, having that person with you that's doing it with you, like Mum's always there sort of cheering me on, but I think when you're doing it solo, it can be quite a lonely race as well, I think. Like, obviously there's loads of people running on the track, and there might be the odd person that you're always sort of at a similar point with. But I don't know if it's maybe because I just go so into my head as I'm, or pain cave as it might be, as I'm going round. But with the doubles, I was definitely just so much more like present and enjoying myself, and really nice as well doing it with Mum. That's just, really, really nice.
And how did you
no, go on.
How did you guys find the breakdown of the stations then? Like, how did you break it down? If you like talked us through the race, did you have a plan going in, or did you just?
Well, yeah, we sort of did. Like when Mum came up to the gym and we practiced like we went through it in order as well, just to help like sort of the mind of where like what the order is and stuff. The ski, like I came in and started and did like the first 300, then Mum did the middle 300 and I did the last 300, just to sort of for like recovery and bits like that. The sleds, I think we did about half a length each on both of them, didn't we?
Except on the push, I think the third one, I'm like, you just do the whole one.
Yeah.
And then I'll do the first half of the next one, and then you can finish it.
And how did your legs feel going out of that, Claire? Because it is when you've not done a lot of it, like coming out the sled and then going for a run, Like, was it
Yeah.
weird running as a runner after doing some of the
I
sled stuff?
think my legs are a lot stronger than my upper body, and I think probably that comes from years of skiing and all this
Oh,
kind of lower body training that you do there. So, but also I think so I think for me the legs were okay. For me, the harder things were the upper body. The
Did
upper
you
body
just
one.
then make Mimi do all the burpees? Surely that's
No, to be fair, Mum smashed the burpees. I think we split it like, I think I did about 10 and then you did about 5. So yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
fair. That's good. Yeah, good tactics.
yeah, and that worked really well, I think,
Yeah.
as well.
The funniest one was, so for the farmer's carry, we decided Mimi would begin it and end it so that we weren't putting the weights down. You know, if I was ending it, I might put them somewhere and then we might get into trouble because it wasn't where they were meant to be. But the in between, Mims was going to start and then we'd sort of see where she got to, and then I would take over. Now, bear in mind, I'd like only ever lifted 6K kettlebells before that. But it was so funny because we kind of arrived and normally Mimi's, and I guess it's different when you're on your own, but she gets to the kettlebells and it's just like abject pain on her face. And we got in and she lifted these things and she starts sprinting. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't even keep up with her anymore. Trying to catch my breath and thinking she's going to hand him over any minute now. I'm going to have to keep going. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
she was like a
told me
proper
off after,
ninja
didn't
warrior.
you? Yeah, after you were like, why don't you normally do that? That was so much better than usual.
It is funny though, isn't it? Because on the farmer's carry, if you're doing it in a doubles, you think you're going to get a break and you actually don't on that. It goes so quickly,
Yeah,
especially when there's 2 of you doing it, that suddenly you're back out on the run
you're
again
back
and
on
you're
the
like,
track.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I think the funniest bit for me was on the row, and we'd sort of agreed we didn't want to like swap loads on that because you know what I'm going to say. We didn't want to swap loads because of the getting on and off. So we decided Mum would just get on and start and go as far as she could, and then I'd jump on and finish. Because since I'm used to doing a kilometre, it's like, well, whatever you do, it's less for me anyway. So that's quite good. I remember getting in and we were both starting to feel it a little bit, I think. And I was trying to be really motivational. I was like, come on, keep going. You're smashing it. This is really good. And she just goes, shh. And I thought, maybe speaking a bit too much at the moment then.
No motivation is going to help right now.
Did you just go shh? I went,
But you've got to have those moments as well, don't you? Like me and Em do a lot of doubles together and a lot of different chat. I don't think you've ever done it to me in Hyrox, but when we were doing the running challenge, and I think I was trying to be motivational, and Em was just like, "Can you just stop talking?" I was like, "No problem, point taken."
I think in my head I was just like, whatever you say to me, I'm gonna like disagree, or I'm gonna think of like a reason that's not right, like whatever motivational thing you try and say, because I'm so unhappy and in the pain cave right now. But I think it was easier for me to just tell her to be quiet. I was like, enough is enough.
But that's the nice thing about doubles as well, isn't it? You've got somebody else to do it, and you can finish, and after you do have these like funny moments that you can actually share. Whereas I guess like when you're doing something on your own in a solo sport, it's quite hard to look back and laugh at some of the moments that happened in the race.
And then what about the wall balls? Everyone usually hates the wall balls. How did you find those? Did you have tactics? Were you okay?
Yeah, I think, how did we split it up again? I can't remember what number.
I think we were going to go, you were going to go first again and do
Yeah.
15, and then I would try and do between 5 and 10 and then hand back to you. So that was how we did it.
Yeah, that worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Did you
So I think
find
the
the hitting the target okay and getting down to the, like, I'm guessing you've got quite good mobility in the squat?
Yeah, I think the initial kind of first 2 or 3, and the same happened when we practiced in Birmingham. It's like almost kind of getting your balance right. It's a weird thing, I think, because you're kind of looking up and it's a heavy weight and you're thinking about what you need to do. But then after that, it was okay. But I think the judges, so hitting the target was okay. but I think the judges were very generous in how low I was actually getting in my squat. I think they were very, very kind. I definitely, I think I was probably getting to right angles, but not much below that, to be honest.
Yeah, but you're giving it a good go, and that's what it's all about. If they are really not sure, they usually put the box, don't
Box
they?
out.
Yeah. So
you're obviously doing a good enough job. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the first few, I swear most, like a lot of people, the first one they do will be a no rep, because it's just like getting into it, and you sometimes you run in and then you don't stand quite the right distance away, and it's quite tricky to then once you get in the motion, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I did quite like as well. So I thought it was a bit odd that you stand facing the person, because in everything else you're kind of behind them or alongside them. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit odd. I wonder why they've done it like that. But actually that was really nice.
Yeah, you
that
get
was
to
nice
cheer
to
each
have.
other on, don't you?
Yeah.
And then cross the finish line together. And what was your first thoughts when you crossed the finish line? Was it, I'm never doing this again? Or
So actually I thought, I was a little bit disappointed it was over. It was a weird thing. I think we both cried.
Yeah.
But it was just, I think it's like a high, isn't it? You're just riding that high of all the excitement, and oh my word, we've done it. And that was just amazing. So I would definitely do another one. I wouldn't do a singles. I don't think I'm up for that, but definitely do another doubles. It was really, yeah, I mean, I don't know that enjoyable is the right word, but
it's like type 2
fun,
then, isn't it? Like once you finished, you feel like a sense of achievement, and you enjoy the whole atmosphere and the process and the race itself. But in it, you're just questioning your life choices. I bet. At any point, did you go, "Oh my God, Mimi, what have you got me into?"
I think for me it was like we kept, as obviously in the early laps, we kept running past. Was it the burpees? I think it was the burpees that were right by the track. Was it the burpees?
They were sort of like right by the inn. Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like thinking, oh my God, we've still got that to come. We've still got that to come. And just, looking at the people as you're running past and thinking, oh, so for me, a real highlight was running past them, knowing that we'd done them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, then it's over. I do think once you get past the row, like you've done the burpees, you've done the row, the rest of the race just goes so quickly. Like it's a pivotal point in the race, isn't it? Yeah, go on, Mimi.
One thing that Mum's not mentioned that is literally the week of the event. I think, had you gone out on a run? And she messages me going, "Oh, my hip's really sore. I can't do it." And I was like, "No, that's not an option." She goes, "No, I'm just letting you know. I still want to do it, but you need to find someone as backup that can come to Manchester that weekend just in case." And I thought, there's no way that you're not going to do it. There's no way we're not going to cross that finish line. And it was even right up until the day she's going, "Oh, I really wanted us to do it in under an hour and a half. And now, oh, what if I can't finish it?" And all of this chat. And then absolutely killed it. So I think that was at the finish line as well. That really added to like the finish line feels too.
Yeah, because you got like an hour and 16, didn't you? It was rapid.
Yeah.
That's
I remember.
So quick.
Yeah. I remember as we were going into the lunges, because I don't normally look at my watch, but I'd sort of started it and I thought, because I had no idea whatsoever on what time we were on. I remember looking at it, I was like, this is an hour. I was like, surely not. I thought, oh, maybe I paused it when we were doing the burpees. So it really wasn't until like we finished, I was like, oh wow, like we really killed that.
Wow. That's so good.
And your hip held up, Claire? It was fine on the day, or did you have some niggles? Or
yeah, no, it's niggly. It is niggly, but I think I don't really know what I did. I was doing, it was silly, really. I was trying to do some like speed intervals, and I think I just took off wrong, did something a bit weird. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm injured and that's me out forever, but it was just something tweaked.
Yeah.
And I'm really impatient with things like that. So I've probably gone back to running before I should have done. So, but I, I was scared because I'm like, well, what if it gets worse? You're doing lunges and burpees and they sort of funny movements, and I'm thinking, and then I can't do anymore. But we agreed that worst case we would just walk on the runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just complete it, like, yeah, be
Yeah.
there and enjoy the race and just complete it, because sometimes, like, race days as well, it's like a really like valid point. You're not always perfect on that one day, aren't you? Anything can happen into the lead up to a race, and so sometimes, like, you might have your expectations, but sometimes it's good to just put those aside and remember, like, it's just good to be able to take part and enjoy it and be there, because there's so many people who can't, and it's nice to just, yeah, take it for what it is, isn't it? And anything else is a bonus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have to ask, are you still doing strength training, Claire, or are you back to just running?
No, so I am still doing some. Today I challenged ChatGPT with a 4-week body-based training program for me. So,
Oh, amazing.
so I'm going to share that with Mims and get her to modify it. And yeah, I think coming into the winter as well, it's probably going to be quite good fun because the days are so short and like it can be quite icy, and so if I'm always thinking, oh, I've got to go out on my run and it's freezing cold, whereas if I think, oh, I can do some different stuff and do it in the garage or in the house or whatever, then I think it'll make it more interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
And are you going to book your next race? Have you discussed it, or is it going to be in the new year? Are we thinking maybe somewhere abroad, or are you going to go somewhere?
We did mention it the other day that we need to plan our next one, didn't we? So it's definitely in the works.
Awesome.
And have you got some coming up, Mimi, that are solo
Yeah,
ones?
having a look, because I did my first pro one in Birmingham just a couple of weeks before Manchester. So definitely keen to give that another go and see how I get on, but not really sure which ones yet. But yeah.
And how did you find the jump from open to pro? I mean, I've read a bit of your stuff, but like, yeah, what did you feel? Just for anyone that's maybe listening that's thinking, oh, I've done a few opens and now I might give a pro, what would you say to them? Like, how did it feel?
Well, it was quite a funny one because I went a bit crazy, really. I hadn't done, so I volunteered in Birmingham last year because obviously living in Birmingham, and it was a couple of days long. And so I'd got the free volunteer place. And Mum was like, oh, it's a free one. Why don't you just do the pro? It's not, you're not
You're
paying
both as
for
bad
it.
as each other, aren't
you? Yeah, we really
I'm
are.
working this one out. I don't think it's just one person here.
I've got to get it from somewhere.
Yeah.
But so I'd signed up for that, but I hadn't done one since like March, April time, and this was in like October. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do my first Hyrox in like 8 months and it be a pro, because just expecting my body to go into complete shock. So I thought I'll do an open before to like get myself ready. And the only one that wasn't completely sold out was Milan the week before. So I thought, well, I feel like that's a good idea. I'll do that. But weirdly enough, like my runs from Milan to Birmingham within the week, like they stayed the same. And I really thought I'd get like significantly slower because of like the heavier weights and stuff. But I think the ones I noticed the biggest difference in was the sled pull and the farmer's carry. Everything else was all right, but I normally quite like the sled pull, and going up to pro weights, that was just a different game. But I didn't find the sled push too bad, weirdly. And yeah, the farmer's carry, like once my grip went, it was just impossible to get more than like a couple of steps each time. So I got the bulk of it done, and then the last like half length, I really struggled.
It's impressive though that the runs stayed pretty consistent between like from one to the next. So you obviously have got the like leg strength, well, and the to keep going and to keep running on the tired legs when they're the heavier weights. It's just like you say, a bit of fine tuning with some things, and maybe the more technical things as well. I always think the sled pull is like, it's sometimes if you just don't get the technique or don't get the pull quite right, it doesn't even move. It's So.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
But sorry.
Another pro on the cards then.
Yeah, see if I can get a bit quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome. And then I just wanted to touch on for anyone that's not done a Hyrox before. Claire, how did you feel standing and Mimi actually for the first time in the start tunnel when all that kicks off? And how did you feel like the build up to the race when you went into the Hyrox, when you got yourself all ready, registration, warm up, and then in that start tunnel? How was that as a like a first time experience?
It was like really, really exciting because obviously it's quite loud and the music's going and there's lots of people around you and I'm looking at them all going, gosh, they all look quite fit and healthy and fast and matching and
Did you have matching outfits?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
You have to.
But the guy who was I don't know, the volunteer who was there, he came over and he's like, oh, how are you doing? And, oh, quite nervous. And he's like, oh, don't be nervous, just enjoy it, go out, have fun, don't put any pressure on yourself. And Mims, you were pretty much saying the same thing, weren't you? And I think just having the run and having it as 3 laps was quite a good way to start.
Yeah,
it's
the
quite
run
nice
you're used to as well. Like it's something that that's your comfort zone. So
Yeah.
that kicked you off, and you could probably settle into it then.
Yeah.
That's
So
what about you,
amazing.
Mimi?
I think it's quite funny because obviously there's so much about Hyrox on social media at the moment. And one of the tips that a lot of people seem to say is like they go into the start zone at like the very last minute to stop their adrenaline rocketing and stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I've seen that a couple of times. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, as soon as you let me in. I want to watch the video. I want to hear the music. Like, I really like it. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm here for.
It's quite
really sort of
good, isn't it? The build up and it like gets you going and builds you. I guess that's a really good point. Like, for some people it might be the worst thing ever because they get so nervous. But then if you thrive off it, like you say,
it gets you going and gets you ready to
sprint.
Although having said that, whenever I hear Greatest Showman now, my heart starts going. I think, oh God.
But it's funny as a spectator watching her when she's in the tunnel, because like she says, she goes in early and then you see her looking about and it's like she's looking for someone to talk to. I know she is. And then she latches on to someone and starts having these. And I'm like, oh, who was that you were talking to? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, just someone who was there.
Yeah, it was quite good having you there to chat away to this time.
It's nice though.
Yeah, didn't have to find someone that wasn't quite fully locked in the zone yet, that didn't want to chat to me.
Yeah, I know some people are probably like a little bit like, oh no, I'm focused now, I can't be distracted. Whereas at least when you're in your doubles, you can just have a little chat away, calm each other down and get excited about it, talk your plan and then go for it. No, it's really cool.
So for anyone listening then, I think like it'd be really cool to hear from you guys. Have you got like a top tip each for like anything to do with Hyrox, like training or when you go to the races for someone that's thinking about it or hasn't done it before? What would be your like top tip? Apart from Mimi, you can have the whole get in and like get to the start line early to get the hype. We'll give that one for free. But have you got another one?
I think, and I'm sure this probably gets said every time, but like just enjoying it. I've had quite a few friends sort of thinking about it or doing their first ones now. And I'm like, I think somebody said to me once that your first one's the easiest because after that, you've constantly got a time that you're trying to beat. So it's like going in, I don't think I've ever experienced anything like Hyrox before, especially now that it's got so big and there's so many people and they've really got it like fine-tuned. I think like it's just such an incredible event and atmosphere. And I think just taking it in as much as you can.
Yeah, definitely. Good one. What about you, Claire?
Yeah, I was going to say as well, from a novice's point of view, just enjoy it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and definitely don't clock watch. I think those would be the things that I would say. But soak in the atmosphere. Actually, while you're competing as well, there were a couple of women who we'd go past them on the runs, and then they'd go past us on the stations, and you'd get smiles and high fives, and just soaking that in as well. And I guess, if you're super elite, then that's not what you're there to do. But for novices, certainly making the most of it would be my advice.
It's nice. Everyone's in it together, aren't they? And they're just supporting each other. And like, we've been the same in an event before, and you kind of like going back and forward with another pair, and like you say, maybe one's faster running and then one's faster on the stations, and it's just nice that everyone's, I don't think it's ever like competitive in a nice way. It's like competitive in a nice way. You're kind of having a smile, having a like giggle, hats off to each other, well done, like on the runs, keep going. It's all very like a nice form of a competitive race as such.
I think the other thing, obviously experiencing it for the first time, normally I'm the spectator, and so I'm really focused on Mimi, and you're kind of conscious of the people around her if they're keeping up with each other. But actually it was so nice being on the other side and having all the spectators like shouting. They may not have been shouting for you, but it seemed like they were cheering for you as you went by, and that was really nice, because that's like constant while you're running, which is really enjoyable.
Yeah, it's so true. I saw it was either Jess Towell or Jess Petro, but they both are in the Elite 15, both called Jess, and one of them put on their social media, it was really great being like, they were kind of next to each other in the race. So she said it was like you got double the cheers, because it didn't matter which Jess they were cheering for. They each like took them both on. And I was like, it's true. If someone cheers, maybe it's not specifically at you, but you take it on, and it helps you, I don't know, do the next burpee or keep going. So whether it's like, it's meant to be for you or not, I think it's just great that there's so many people around cheering. It's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's one of the best things about the event, isn't it? And I think coming from a running background, sometimes when you do running races, there's areas where there's nobody cheering, isn't there? But you know that, I don't know, but the best runs and run races I've done, it's like when you come up and there's like a steel band going, or then there's loads of people, and you suddenly pick up the pace. Whereas Hyrox, because it's such a concentrated area, there's just people everywhere, so it kind of keeps that hype going. There's never like a part, a kilometer that's out the back somewhere that you're running on your own,
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, that probably leads us nicely onto the cheeky insight questions, if that's okay with both of you.
Yeah.
We've got 8 questions for you. You can both answer, or you can choose one person to answer, or if you don't know an answer, just pass it on to the other one. Don't take offense. But the first one is, which trainers did you wear to race Hyrox in? Which is the question that everyone wants to know.
I've always had Hoka Cliftons. I think it's 9s now. They're just the shoes Mum got me when we started running in lockdown, and I've never ran in anything else. So like you say, it's sort of a running race, so that's what I stick with.
I run in Saucony Endorphin Speeds.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, here we go.
We're a fan, although we have both. I think we have both of those shoes, don't we? We're a lover of the trainers. Very good. Okay, next up, well, maybe this one's more for Mimi, because you've raced in a few venues. Did you have a favorite Hyrox venue that you've raced in?
Oh, that's quite hard, actually. Because I feel like all the places I've been, they've all been quite similar, like setups. Whereas I saw like Berlin, I'm so gutted I didn't do that. Like out on the airfield, that looked insane. A favourite one, I quite liked Birmingham this year. I quite like Manchester.
Manchester's it's a good venue, nice. Isn't it?
Manchester.
And Claire, do you have a like favorite one from like spectating or racing? Like it can be Birmingham if that was where it was, but like
no, I think from a spectator point of view, I think I really like Milan. I think the way they set it up, you didn't have people crossing the track to get into watch. You went upstairs and down again, and you could go upstairs and you could see the start from above rather than on floor level. I think I really liked Milan as a spectator. Also wasn't crazy busy. Manchester as a spectator, you just can't move for people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's quite hard.
I think as a spectator, Milan probably.
Yeah,
that's
Milan
good.
sounds very similar to like Olympia, which like a lot of people like for spectating because it's got the big balcony around the top, and I think it does make a difference when you can look down and just watch the whole event. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, next one is, which is your favorite Hyrox station? So Mimi will go first.
Well, I'm horrible at the farmers carry, the lunges and the burpees. That's where I really go downhill. So maybe like the sled pull if it's an open weight, and maybe the sled push at pro.
All about the sleds.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, here for the sleds.
I like it. Claire, what about you? Which was your favorite?
I think the ski erg was mine, just because it's your first one and you've got it done and it's in the pocket, and probably because it was cardiovascular as well.
Yeah.
And how did you find that when you first, because you said you'd never been on a ski, never been on a row. How did you find doing that? Now it's become your favorite station.
Yeah, I think it was a weird one with the ski because initially I was doing it completely wrong, and then I went to the gym near us, and there was this woman there who's been doing training for a while. She's never competed, and they paired her up with me. And she was watching me doing the ski erg, and she just went, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm trying to do this." And she said, "Have you ever skied before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I grew up skiing." She goes, "Why don't you just do it like you ski?" And that was just like, yeah, why wouldn't you do it like you see? I think I was going out with my arms and doing all kinds of weird things. And then when Mims and I practiced the sort of handovers, she's like, you're allowed to go up on your tiptoes when you do this, and that'll give you, much more power, and your distance will be further without a lot of work. And that, so it was just two really, really, really simple tips, but that made such a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
So win for the ski erg. There we go.
Win for the ski erg.
Team Emma, she loves the ski erg.
Yeah, I
Don't
love
know if I wanted to do a kilometer of it, but
never say never.
Never say never.
Okay, next one is this is a hard one because you might want to choose each other because you're doubles partners, but if you could do a doubles with anyone else in the world, who would you choose?
Do you know, I think it's only right if I say my brother. Oh, no, forget that. We'll rope Dad in and we'll do a relay.
Yeah, family relay.
I thought you were going to go, no, forget that, and choose somebody else completely different. There, my heart broke a little bit.
No, she wants to get everyone involved. Family relay. I like that answer.
I think my brother would be up
really
for it.
good, actually.
Yeah, he's a dancer, so he's super fit, super strong.
Oh wow, yeah.
Dad might be harder to convince. I think he came he came and watched me. I think it was in Manchester last year when I did it solo. And bear in mind, Mum always took me to hockey and touch. Dad always took me to rugby, sort of thing. So he's used to seeing me get tackled and things like that. And after he watched it, he went, "Yeah, I'm not going to come to any more of these. I don't like seeing you in pain." And that's it. But when me and Mum, I was like, "Dad, we're doing a doubles. You got to come and support me." And Mum, he's like, "It's bad enough watching you. Why do I want to watch both of you in pain? I'm not coming."
So maybe if he comes and he's in pain as well, it'll be fine.
Just put him at the start of the relay, and then he'll be too tired to watch you lot do the rest of it. So
That's a good plan. I like that.
Bless him. What about you, Claire? Is there anyone you would want to do a doubles with?
Yes, I think Mim's saying her brother was inspired. I think he would be really good. But I think if I was thinking who would I do it with, I think someone like, Oh golly, someone like Serena Williams
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
would be phenomenal, because I wouldn't want to do it with someone like, you might think, oh, Mo Farah, because he's so fast, but then you'd have to keep up with him. And that would just be a nightmare. Whereas you think Serena Williams, she's got like such a strong mind, and she's so physically fit.
She's a powerhouse, isn't she?
She's
as
a
well?
powerhouse, yeah, but I
Mm.
think she'd also be really, really supportive.
Yeah,
Someone like that.
definitely. She's iconic for sure. That would be
I also think she'd be quite competitive, so I think you might be chasing her around.
Chasing her anyway.
Can't see her slowing down much.
You never know. You never know.
You might not be able to shush her. You might...
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare.
Oh, good answers. Good answers. Okay, next one is: did you take any fuel during the Hyrox race, like a gel or anything, or not?
Yeah, I usually take a gel. Mum, you had your own little trick, didn't you?
Yeah, I just had Haribos.
Oh,
Just sort of had some of them every now and then.
Nice, little pick me up.
Yeah.
And
when do you take your gel, Mimi? Do you do it at the row like most people, or do you take a bit earlier? Or...
It kind of depends. Sometimes, do you know what? Sometimes I actually take two. I think it sort of depends on how. I always put two in my pocket, but I don't always use both of them. And it'd either be, if I was going to take two, probably after, like maybe even before the burpees and the farmer's carry. But if I was just taking one, probably around the row. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes you need more than one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one of those days.
Yeah.
Next one, what's your favorite type of training session for Hyrox? So like format of a session, or like a long run or an interval, that kind of thing. Do you have a favorite?
I think for me, I've been trying to like work a lot on my running. I think there's just so much time that can be like made up there, isn't there? But particularly as it's getting dark so early, and I work sort of 8 till 4, so not really seeing daylight much at the moment. But I found that there's a running track at a leisure centre like right by my work that's like got floodlights on. So I've gone there a couple of times and done like a few sprint sessions, and I'm really enjoying that at the moment, actually. So I think that's probably my favorite at the moment. But now it's quite cold, so
I love a good track session. I think it's like, it's really like, it's a different way to run, isn't it? Instead of like pounding the pavements and stuff. But...
yeah, definitely.
What about you, Claire?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's made me rediscover interval running. So I kind of got in my head, all I want to do is long runs and go further, and had that sort of focus. Wasn't really increasing my pace at all, but maintaining distance. And then Mim said, oh, you should try and do some short, like 400-meter really fast with some recoveries, or kilometer at race pace and stuff like that. And I've not done that for years and years and years, and actually I'm enjoying that a lot more than the long runs now.
Oh, that's cool. And it's nice, isn't it, to like sometimes doing a new event, whether it's like a different like style of like distance to run, or whether it's a different sport, it gives you a different way to train, and it just like keeps things fresh, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And do you do those outside, Claire? Like, or do you do a treadmill or a mix, or?
Yeah, so outside I do have a treadmill, and I do use that, but I find it's not a super fancy one or anything, so you kind of slow it down to do your walk or your recovery, and then it takes forever to get back up to speed again. So on the sort of shorter 400-meter type ones, you're almost halfway through your 400 meters and you're just up to your pace. I prefer them outside. I prefer running outside. I'll use the treadmill when it's really cold, and I'm using that a bit more for slower, longer runs at the moment. But
yeah, it's good to have the option, isn't it? Especially like when the weather changes, or the ice or something like that. But yeah, we're with you. Outside running is always our preferred. We had to do a treadmill session the other day because all the parks in London closed because of the wind, and it was by far the worst session I've done in a long time. I
thought it was all right. Every time I looked over at Em, she was just like I think 10 minutes are gone and I was like, oh, we've got another 60 minutes to go. I was like, I'm not going to look left anymore. I'm just going to focus on my own thing.
Honestly, I looked at my watch and it still said 57 minutes remaining, and I was like, oh my God, no. So I'm an outside girl for sure. Okay, next one, excuse me, is, in a nutshell, why should someone sign up for their first Hyrox? Claire, we'll go to you first.
I think just the sense of achievement.
Yeah.
I think, you know, that enjoyment, the community spirit, the friendliness, but also that sense of achievement. I mean, it's not something that a normal person would just go out and do. So, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just so, you know, it challenges everything. It challenges everything. And so I think it doesn't, like I say, you know, don't clock watch. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, just crossing that finish line and thinking, oh my word, I never thought in a million years I could do that. And we've done it.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. What about you, Mimi?
I just think like it's one of those things that has such like, it needs such little like technical skill to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think so many commercial gyms now, like pure gyms, gym groups, they all have sleds, they all have ski ergs, they all have rows. Like, it's so you don't need to go to like a specialist Hyrox gym or, you know, anything like that. It really is like anyone could do one if they wanted to. And I think that's really nice, because I think CrossFit was always something that I sort of like the idea of, but then you see the videos of people doing like handstand push-ups and, you know, all these sorts of things, and it's just not very accessible. Whereas I think Hyrox really is accessible to anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think it helps that you don't have to walk on your hands for 100 meters.
100%.
We're all for that. Okay, and lastly, is there anyone that you would like to see on our podcast, or any, it doesn't have to be a specific person, like a type of person, like for example, someone said a mother-daughter duo, so like that sort of thing, could be someone in the Hyrox world, or do you have any ideas of anyone you'd like to hear a bit more from that we could ask?
Have you had Jade on yet?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we are trying.
We're trying to get Jade. The elusive Jade. Yeah. Come on, Jade. Tell her to come on, Mimi.
Yeah, I'll try.
To be fair, we try to make our diaries align, and every time we nearly do it, and you've seen what we're like. Yeah, something goes, one of us has to cancel or one of us has to move it. So we will get Jade. We want to try and get Jade and Bella on together, because we thought
that'd be so good. Definitely.
Okay, there we go. See you soon, Jade and Bella.
I think she's at Sports Direct in London at 5 o'clock on on Friday. You might catch her there.
Just go with a microphone, be like,
okay, first live podcast.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know another one that would be like insane? Have you seen Tia Toomey said he's off to try some Hyrox?
Yeah, I know. I mean, that would be insane.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure how to slide into Tia's DMs, but
well, I mean, I think we've sent her a DM, but whether it ever gets read or not is another. We'll try our best, but that would be cool.
I'd love to. Yeah, cool. I'd love to interview her. I think she'd be ace to see.
Yeah. Well, I think that rounds us off very nicely. Cool.
Wild.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Do you guys have anything you wanted to add, or anything you all good? You all Hyroxed out? Feeling good?
Yeah. Feeling good.
Feeling good. Where can everyone follow you? We're gonna up Claire's Instagram followers. Or we'll send them all to Mimi.
I think I do have an account, but
yeah, you do.
Hit us up, Mimi. If people want to follow your journey, maybe see what you guys do, you know, follow your next one, or see how you get on with pro, or whether you managed
to the relay ever happens.
Get your dad involved. What's your dad called?
Mike.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. We're rooting for you. Let's get involved.
That would be impressive if you convinced him, I think.
Maybe we should start a poll on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh my God, you've got to do that.
Let's see Mike at Hyrox.
Yeah, my Instagram's Mimi's running around with like no dots or anything, just one word. In fact, Mum, having said that, I did post a TikTok of all the videos together, and we got like 33,000 views or something.
We never
ridiculous.
did.
No
We did,
way.
yeah.
And what's your TikTok, Mimi?
I think it's just Mimi Paton 3.
All right, cool.
I think, yeah.
We can link both.
Cool.
But yeah,
Cool.
fair play. That's awesome. So, well, guys, like absolutely epic having you on. Thank you so much for being such good sports. Claire, especially coming on. I know you were a bit nervous at the beginning, but hopefully you've had fun chatting.
Yeah,
And
lots
I
of
really
fun.
think you might have inspired people to give it a go.
Hope so. Definitely worth it.
And hopefully we'll catch up with you guys at Hyrox or something in the future.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Or another training camp, or maybe we're just going to do a training session together. But yeah, we really appreciate your time. For anybody listening, we would love it if you could share this episode, especially to anyone that's thinking about doing it, or anybody that's never tried one, even just the thought about going to be a spectator, or maybe doing a doubles to get into it, because obviously it's loads of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.